The Illinois Attorney General says the attempted assassination attempt on Donald Trump is not what the framers envisioned when they crafted the Second Amendment, but we've got updates on the challenge of Illinois' gun and magazine ban. It is Bishop on Air. Told you I'd be doing a segment here and there about what's going on, keeping you updated with the gun and magazine ban. On my full-time gig, I'm over at the Center Square. You can wake up each and every weekday morning with Illinois in Focus Daily. We'll give you all of the headlines you need to know. Of course, it's been a roller coaster of the past week and a half news cycle. So if you want to go see some interviews with Illinois elected officials about President Joe Biden announcing that he's not going to be running for re-election, endorsing Kamala Harris, talked with LaShawn Ford and also Jason Plummer, two State House actors from both sides of the aisle. You can go see that interview with Illinois in Focus Daily over at America's Talking Network. But here on Bishop on Air, let's get to what Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul recently had to say at an event with the Citizens Club up in Chicago, or is it the City Club? Let me just double check that it is the City Club of Chicago. So here he is talking with Kathleen Santz from GPAC, Illinois. You had Senate President Don Harmon there, and you also had the Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly there as well. But Raoul, Illinois Attorney General, defending the state in the challenge against the gun ban, talking about the U.S. Supreme Court's rulings and so on. All of this while you've got a bench trial challenging Illinois' gun ban set for September 16th. And actually a pre-trial has been set for a few days before that. And we'll touch on the docket and show you guys some of the latest here. But here's Attorney General Kwame Raoul. And you can find this story at thecentersquare.com. But here with Bishop on Air, just giving you some of the back and forth with Kwame Raoul last week in front of the City Club of Chicago.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, while we were very happy that the Supreme Court denied cert to the sort of interlocutory appeals up, there's no indication there about what ultimately will happen at that level. Shout out Sarah Hunger, and who did a phenomenal job last year at defending these cases before the Seventh Circuit, and I was there as she participated in oral arguments and witnessing the panel toiling with the construct of Bruin, and I have to be careful because they'll throw something at me. I will get if I talk about the construct that Justice Thomas has said we have to now evaluate these Second Amendment claims. But so it's a two-part test. First of all, answering the question of whether the text of the Second Amendment protects these types of weapons. And if anything, that Butler, Pennsylvania from last week illustrates for us that AR-15s can have lethality from long distance away, and that's not I don't think that's the vision of the framers back in the 18th century, that people were going to be walking around with AR-15s near schoolyards, presidential rallies, and places like that. It's more of a weapon of war. And in the Seventh Circuit decision, as they evaluated, they were making comparison of AR-15s to M16s based on how they can be adjusted with bump stocks. So the Seventh Circuit, not to get granular there, but the Seventh Circuit had to go through a decision making of the likelihood of prevailing in further proceedings, and said that the plaintiffs did not have a likelihood of prevailing on both ends of the test, whether it's the type of arm protected by the Second Amendment, and secondly, with this evaluation of whether the tradition of laws regulated arms whether this is consistent with that. And on both of those points, they said the plaintiffs were not likely to prevail. We have to go back before Judge McGlynn in the Southern District, as well as we'll be back, inevitably in the Seventh Circuit. So this journey is not over. But in the meantime, assault weapons are banned in the state of Illinois.
Well, we'll see what happens there in the Southern District of Illinois. Again, he kind of spelled out, the Supreme Court, they did not take these consolidated cases on an interlocutory appeal, which means the case was not finished yet. We still have yet to get final judgment. It was all on preliminary grounds, meaning that, they would put the law on hold at first in the Southern District. The appeals court reversed that and then said the state had a likelihood of succeeding, but that was not on final orders. Right now, after the U.S. Supreme Court denied taking the case on preliminary grounds, the Southern District has the case, and they are set to hear the case with a bench trial September 16th. But if you look at the docket, there's been a lot of activity over the past couple of weeks here, with affidavits being filed by the plaintiffs, from Caleb Barnett to Hood Guns and More, Brian Norman, the National Shooting Sports Foundation. You've got Pro Gun and Indoor Range, Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, Piasaw Armory, Gun Owners Foundation, Gun Owners of America, Guns Save Life, Chris Moore, Jasmine Young, all of these individuals filing, Todd Vandermeide filing a declaration, an affidavit for Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois. You've got others here filing those declarations and stipulations. But then you get to the status conference that was held with Judge Stephen McGlynn. And this is just a readout. And it's just saying that these individuals took part in it. They were there, part of the status conference. The final pre-trial conference will be via Zoom September 9th. So the final pre-trial conference will be September 9th in front of Judge Stephen McGlynn by Zoom. And then the trial is set for September 16th at 9 in the morning. All right. Will that be via Zoom? Will we be down in the courtroom to cover this? Well, I'll obviously follow up and make sure that we have access to this. But clearly, interesting to see where we're at with all of this. So again, the trial is set for September 16th. You've got a pre-trial conference set for September 9th, and that's with Judge Stephen McGlynn in the Southern District challenging Illinois' gun and magazine ban. But at the City Club in Chicago, it wasn't the only thing they talked about with the elected officials there. Even State Senator and Senate President Don Harmon, he talked about other Supreme Court rulings and how they impact things like Illinois' red flag laws, or the proposed law to allow for police to get a warrant, or to require police get a warrant from the courts if somebody faces a domestic violence order of protection, to require police to go confiscate those firearms. Here is Senate President Harmon reacting to some of the other decisions that have come out from the U.S. Supreme Court recently.
The Supreme Court jurisprudence has really bound our hands in some ways in saying that people have a right to protect their homes, to have guns in their homes. That doesn't mean we can't put qualifications on. So sort of a safe home approach. Those two bills fit. I know we're going to be talking about Karina's Law at some point here. We have to be. Supreme Court keeps throwing us surprises, and I will tell you, we were waiting on the Supreme Court's decision in Rahimi. Am I saying that right? Yeah. And they surprised me in saying that we can, in fact, regulate at that intersection of guns and domestic violence. And we need to.
So, again, the other issues are, of course, going after individuals who have expired FOID cards and all the taxpayer resources behind that, let alone that you've got a challenge of the FOID card still active in the federal courts. Here's the Illinois State Police Director, Brendan Kelly, talking about the taxpayer resources being used for local law enforcement to go after some of these firearms.
They're using those funds, our local law enforcement partners, as well as the Illinois State Police, to go out there every day when someone has been identified because their FOID card has been revoked and they have a purchase history and we know the reason that they have been revoked, and they present a great degree of danger through a variety of factors that we consider. Those are the cases that we are working up. And
some of what they said at the City Club of Chicago last week. And wanted to get you that here with Bishop on Air. All right, just a one-off here for you to keep you updated what's going on. Catch the daily program with America's Talking Network over on YouTube. America's Talking Network on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell for the daily program. But every once in a while here with Bishop on Air, we'll hook you up with more information to go a little bit deeper on some of these things. Greatly appreciate you guys each and every weekday morning joining me over at America's Talking Network. So make that happen. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Is really just blown up, and I really appreciate you guys checking that out. But obviously, here with Bishop on Air, we'll keep you updated on a few things as well. All right, got to get out of here. Have yourself a great day. Signing off with Bishop on Air.
Red.